Beginning then with an invocation to Saraswati, Hindu goddess of learning, music, and poetry. A mantra, a Bengali mantra to Saraswati. Jaya, Jaya, Devi, Sari, Charo, Sari, Ucha, Yoga, Sovita, Mokta, If you can't hear me as I go along, will you interrupt me? And if you can't hear my father also, let us know. What I'm going to read now is a continuation of a long poem on these states. I read parts at the International Poetry Festival and parts at a reading I gave at the Roundhouse. At the Roundhouse, the major piece was a long poem called Wichita Vortex Sutra. This is a companion piece to that, written a year later. The Wichita Vortex Sutra and this both being tape recordings of my consciousness in the United States in an era of hallucination and war. This part is called Iron Horse, written on a train between San Francisco and Chicago, with an appendix on a bus between Chicago and New York. Night darkling on Mojave Desert, yellow planet light disappearing over mounds westward, soldiers asleep, rocking away from the war. One autolight headed toward the disappearing sun. Pew, 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 cry the children, pulling each other's arms. What an earth to live on. Lights of the city, south, brightening a piece of the night, and the diamond green gleam of a light on an airfield. Hey, you bit me, you bit me. Hello, Mrs. Fight. Green, green, green blinks the sign of a diner where the truckmen roam in the darkness toward Barstow. This space capsule softer than trees in the chemical landscape with the click of electronics? And is heaven any different from where we are? How could it be better or worse? Though delicate chemical changes in the brain, ethereal sensations from Muladhara sphincter through mind aura promising another universe, Whitman, Carpenter, Gavin Arthur saying, we are leaves of the tree, saying, we are drops of water running to the ocean through the fish's mouth, and we shall stand in flesh, in paradise, with the virgin of the 19th century. Borax, 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 crystal lights upon a hill like fairy castle. Might be in heaven, only Mojave. Borax, 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 borax. The dinosaur lounges through the fronds under Pleiades. The delicate filament of highway lights, the nerves between cities. Borax, 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 borax near the Belmar Motel on the desert. This is mine enemy, my machine, the chatter jabber of the mind, making borax, 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 the spinal column of all thought, or turkeys, oil, wind, headlights. A child peeps out of the curved glass onto the moving night, where a red taillight keeps its time to the Santa Fe train rolling over Crane's gloom. Ho! A crescent moon. Mr. Cummings and Mr. Vinyl both dead. Where the soldiers sit and talk about getting their head busted off, and there's a cherry in the gin and tonic, and also an angel playing with himself upside down, kneeling on the bed, looking backward between his legs into the mirror to see the two spots where he sat so long to study the Bible. Cigarettes and alcohol in the 181st Airborne. They'd be better off puffing a peaceful pipe of O or sipping a Sepsi in a cafe, getting high by the green fig tree staring at the ocean side or the blue Strait of Gibraltar. The tricks are what makes business. You got a college education. It ain't what you got, it's what you do with your college education, son. They're all actors, waiting at Barstow, the engine humming. I want to be an entertainer. I want to be a comedy writer, he said, his hand stained with Vietnamese blood, the engine humming, all others silent, lost in thought. And the soldier talked all about his troubles with his red hair, and how he took his girl home after 3 drinks when she squinted her eyes at him and said, I want to go with you. And how he drove her to her house and said, I'm giving you a last chance. And how she leaned her head on his shoulder and said, anywhere you're going, take me. And how he took off her pants, and she said that he should take off his pants. And he wouldn't take off his pants. And how they'd have some love play, like everybody. And then he'd drive her home. But when he's out at a bar, if anyone looks at his girl, he looks him in the eye and snaps his finger and says, what are you looking like that for? And when he's out in a bar alone, anyone is fair game for his love. So I sat and I listened and I brooded in my beard till I looked at him and saw he was ugly, though his voice beautiful, Edward Carpenter. Now I'm lying here in my cabinet in complete darkness, microphone on my chest, looking out at airfields passing by, stars, a few in the blackness outside, the modern railroad window doubled to reflect passing gas. Stars, dim, white, fixed, friendly. Matter babble behind the ear 6 years ago. The old poetry grows stale, forlorn, as always, forlorn. Fabian Theater, Patterson, by the marble balustrade in the giant darkness, watching boyish Ronald Reagan emote his shadow across the 30s, or 66, or hopeless 69, the same black vastness pierced by emotion, melancholy toward the stars. political planets whirling around the sun, consciousness expansion, Earth girdled by telegraph wires, Edward Carpenter. They never dreamed of television then. No better way to die. Forked trees along the horizon, railroad chug vibrating through the thighs. Clear your throat, lie there in the dark, cough with cancer, close your eyes. I didn't even dream passing Tehachapi and woke sleepy, numb, reluctant to face my own language, but came back to it, pushing machine, passing Mojave, evening ease, Namu Samanda Motonan Oharachi Kotosha Sononan Tojito Enyanya Nyaki Nyaki Unun Jifura Jifura Hara Jifura Hara Jifura Jijusa Jijusa Sujiri Sujiri Sowaja Sowaja Sejinya Shiriye Somoko Namo Samanda Motonan Oharachi Kotosha Sunonan Tojito Enyanya Nyaki Nyaki Unon Jifura Jifura Hara Jifura Jijusa Jijusa Sujiri Sujiri Sowaja Sowaja Sejinya Shiriye Somoko Namo Samanda Motona no Harachi Kotosha Sononan Tojito Enyanya Nyaki Nyaki Unon Jifura Jifura Hara Jifura Hara Jifura Jijusa Jijusa Sujiri Sujiri Sowaja Sowaja Sejinya Shiriye Somoko. The universe is empty. No time, Sam Lewis. No time, Carolyn. No time now, Neil. Morning, crossing New Mexico, Arizona border. Massive cliff waves on Earth in mid-America. Hills north with yellow teepees, trading posts, and gas stations rare. Indian center of America. Gallop ahead. Love to live here. A blessing, these cliffs under the shimmering consciousness of LSD. Passing through plain land, level everywhere, fenced, flat, the horizon gray fleeced with cloud haze, ringing blue, where Gemini men walked that day in space. And 99 soldiers piled on the train at Amarillo. Hadn't read the paper, all these 4 weeks of training for Air Force pneumohydraulics. Last night, the harsh voices of returning soldiers bemedaled, secure in their uniforms, offering coffee, changed into softer civvies today. 99 soldiers entering the train, and all so friendly. Only a month, hair clipped and insulted, so they weren't too sad. They were glad on the train to some electronics field in Chicago. Been taking courses in propaganda, how not to believe what they were told by the enemy. Young fellas that some of them had long hair before they came into the heated camp, friendly over hamburgers, volunteered to get safe assignment behind the lines, milking the great machines that drop napalm, milking the calf of gold. 3 months from now, Vietnam, they said. Walking the length of the train, doors to cabinets and lounges half closed, lounge cars with Time Magazine, Amarillo Globe, U.S. News and World Report, Reader's Digest, Coronet, Universal Railroad schedule, everyone on the same track, bound in leatherette to be read on sofas as American heartland passes flat with its trees rising in the night. Dining car, Negro waiters, Negro porters, Negro sandwich men, Negro bartenders in white jackets, kindly old big-ass gents in half-bald, going, sir, from California to Chicago, feeding the soldiers. A consensus around the card table, consensus over beer. It's my country, better fight 'em over there than here, talking about the war. thrill of fear to my saying, no, it's crazy. Everybody's insane. This country's wrong. The universe itself is an illusion. One boy who worked on the railroad asked me what I thought while soldiers gathered round the seat saying, my country, and they say, I gotta fight, I have no choice. We're in it too deep to pull out. If we lose, there's no stopping the Chinese communists. We're fighting the communists, aren't we? Isn't that what it's about? Flatland, emptiness. 99 soldiers graduated from basic training, eating hamburgers. You learn to eat fast. You learn to be insulted without caring. Sat and talked till 11. Orphan boy whose auto parts father wanted him to grow up military, as he's now in training school, bright, talkative, kenning farmer lore. Almost set by a male hog up to his shoulders. His father pushed the pig off him. His tractor, 4 hours punching at it, power steering, brakes for front and hind foot, giant insect specialized. The whole populace fed by news, few dissenting on this train. I, the lone beard who don't like Vietnam. 99 Air Force boys lined up with their pants down forever. Johnson reiterated, too, quote, our desire to engage in unconditional discussions, unquote, to end the war. Quote, other side is willing to make any concession. We have not the slightest indication more manpower would be required, he said, flatly. John Steinbeck, flaxen-haired Yevtushenko, has written demanding a reprieve. You say it's all his fault that he should end the war. I say, unconditional negotiations, says Johnson. Anywhere, anytime, said Johnson in the last poem. Yesterday, Key of South Vietnam said, dissolve the Viet Cong National Liberation Front and peace. February, Kennedy said, Viet Cong should be given chair in negotiations. Irreconcilable positions. United States proposes contradictions, backed with murder, backed with bombs, backed with propaganda. Soldiers on this train think they're fighting China. Soldiers on this train think Ho Chi Minh's Chinese. Soldiers on this train don't know where they're going. John Steinbeck, stop the war. John Steinbeck, stop the war. John Steinbeck, stop the war. And the French army surrounded Madrid. And the Spanish army had marched simultaneously and surrounded Paris. Then they found out it was hopeless. Generals sent messages, call off the attack. And the armies rushed to a neutral place, confronted and killed each other. They just wanted to fight. No question of Madrid or Paris then. We just want to fight. John Steinbeck, stop fighting. That was in the Middle Ages, and you can do more than Yevtushenko now. And Johnson's backed the latest declaration from Saigon saying, the conditions for negotiation are as follows. Withdraw all aid from North Vietnam, dissolve or withdraw the Viet Cong. These are conditions. These contradict Johnson's unconditionals. These languages are gibberish. John Steinbeck, thy language is gibberish. John Steinbeck, thou'st lost the language war. Cantankerous man. Stop writing newspaper language. Everybody sneeze. Lightning fills the Oklahoma plain with a blue glare. The train rolls on, casting its yellow shadow on the grass. 20 years ago, approaching Texas, I saw sheet lightning cover a corner of heaven, then glare in the opposite pole, feed storage elevators in gray rain mist, and build checkerboard light over heaven till the whole sky roof was one giant network of electricity. Same lightning south follows me on this train. Apocalypse prophesied. The fall of America signaled from heaven. 99 soldiers in uniform paid by the government to believe. 99 soldiers escaping the draft for a better job in army. 99 soldiers shaved with nowhere to go but where told. 99 soldiers seeing the lightning flash. 1,000 years ago, 10,000 Chinese marching on the plain all turned their heads to heaven at once to see the moon. And the old man catching flies on the porch at night, watching the weaving girl cross the Milky Way to meet the herd boy. How can we war against that? How can we war against that? Morning song, waking from dreams, brown grass, nettle, weed, city trees at the edge of the railroad passing Eton Junction, trees standing upside down in the lush earth approaching Mississippi, green legs waving to clouds, seed pods ecstatic exposed to birds and rain bursting, tree heads drinking earth, unfold the stones like rag dolls, and the astral body stares with opal eyes. All living things before my spectacles. In the diner, the lady. These soldiers so nice, clean faces, and their hair combed so short. Ugh, it's disgusting, the others, down to their shoulders in cowboy boots. She was 40, sitting in a corner over cantaloupe with her aged husband. Too late, too late. The iron horse hurrying to war. Too late for laments, too late for warning. I'm a stranger and alone in my country again. Better to find a house in the veldt, better a finca in Brazil. The green corn here looks healthy under the sky. The telephone wires carry their news as before, but doom gathers in the minds of these citizens. Violence gathers in the indifference of their faces. Radio bulletins and television images have built up the war. American fighter comic books on this train. Better a house hidden in the trees in the Mississippi bank, high on a cliff protected from flood. Better an acre down in Big Sur where at morning one walks through cliff paths and oceans revealed blue shining as the first day of the world. Better a farm in the backlands of Oregon or on the roads toward Glacier Peak. Better withdraw from the world of the newspapers. Better withdraw from the electric world. Better retire before the war cuts my head off, not like Kabir. Better to find a garden of love. Better to find a wife. Better to make a baby. Better to protect the lamb in some valley. Better to get away from these cities filled with taxicabs and radios screaming of the president. Better to stop smoking. Better to stop jerking off in trains. Better to stop seducing white-bellied boys. Better to stop publishing prophecy. Better to meditate under a tree, hornets buzzing around my hair. Better to become a nun in the forest. Better to turn flapjacks in Omaha than be a prophet on the electric networks. There's nothing left for this country but doom. There's nothing left for this country but death. To create it or be bombed. Their faces are so plain. Their thoughts so simple. Their machinery so strong. Their arms reach out 10,000 miles with lethal gas. Their metaphor so mixed with machinery, no one knows where the flesh ends and the robot Polaris begins. Waves of United States jet planes struck at North Vietnam again today in the face. Associated Press, July 21st. A summer's day in Illinois. Green corn and water towers silver. Cattle pens, railroad sidings. Yellow trucks waited at the track crossing under the viaduct. Windowless industry next to the field of trees. White flowers, American dirt roads, American rail, American newspaper war. Race violence is organized, police charge. Negroes hurl rocks in Jacksonville, Florida. Police said Henry Towns, 22, a Negro, had tried to drive his automobile. 4 other occupants of the car were wounded. Towns' wife, Diana, 16, her son, Emmanuel, 7 months, her son, Christopher, 4, and her brother, Ernest Williams, 12, in serious condition. Dr. King charged. To date, the power structure seems more willing to accept violence as a means of change than willing to recognize nonviolent movement. Brownsville Community Council links demagogues to violence. 2 explosions hit U.S. office in Colombia. Viet Buddhist burned, robe gas-drenched. Bullet holes in windows of Grosvenor Square Embassy. Report he left letter critical of Johnson. Saigon, UPI. 32 years ago today, the woman in the red dress outside the Biograph Theater in Chicago didn't want to be sent back to Romania. Ambushed Dillinger fell dead on the sidewalk, hit by 4 bullets. FBI man Purvis quit in 35. February 29, 1960, Melvin Purvis shot and killed himself in his home. Army Colonel, World War II, breakfast cereal manufacturer, Dillinger's eyes, and Melvin Purvis's. Dillinger, grim, Purvis, self-satisfied. Both died of bullets. Moving on, Chicago to New York. I want to go out in a car and not leave word where I'm going. Travel ahead, or the Himalayas in the spring, following the pilgrim's path with 10,000 Hindus to Shiva temples north, Rishikesh and Lakshmanjula, homage to Shivananda, Guru Heart, through the green canyon of the Ganges Gorge, carrying water pot to Kedranath and Badranath temples, and Gangotri in the ice, Manasarovar forbidden, Kailash forbidden. The masses prepare for war, the short-haired, mad executives, the young flops from college who wanted to beat the draft by becoming volunteer officers so they could sit on their ass while the rest of the kids got killed. Yellow and pink flesh gone mad listening to the news. Chicago assembles a jury to kill the killer of 8, and Johnson was angry with Fulbright for criticizing his war, and Hartcrane's myth, and Whitman's. What'll happen to that? The karma accumulated from bombing Vietnam, the karma of bodies napalm burned, the karma of suspicion where machinery has smelt the heat of bodies trembling in the jungle, the karma of bullets in the back of the head by thatched walls, the karma of babes in mothers' arms bawling, destroyed, the karma of populations moved from center to center of detention, the karma of bribery, the karma of blood money must come home to America. There must be a war. America has builded herself a new body. Bearded young men in America, hide your hair and shave your beards and disappear. The destroyers are out to destroy. Destroyers of Peking and Washington will stare face to face and hurl their karma bombs on the planet. Get thee to the land. Leave the cities to be destroyed. Only a miracle appearing in men's eyes. Only the flesh of boys singing can show the warless way, or the miracle of radium destruction over Earth. Seed the planet with new babe. Brilliant green lights in the transom windows of a factory. Beautiful when the eyes are ready to close for sleep. As beautiful as undersea sunshine or a valley bottom fern. Why am I afraid of these lights in all the smoking chimneys of industry? Why do I see them as less godly than tree trunks in the forest or orange moons at sunset? Why are these cranes less Edenly than palm fronds, or these highway neons not equal in beauty to the starfish anemone and kelp in tide pools of Point Lobos, neon violet in transparent water? These neon standards, like the cars of men whose faces are made of dough, whose pockets are full of money from the $70 billion abstract budget, these green lights illuminate the goggled eyes, that aim their blowtorches toward metal flying off to war, because these electric structures rear machines made of tin that will kill Bolivian marchers or flagellate Vietnamese adolescents' thighs, because my countrymen make this structure to make war, because this smoke over Toledo is advertised in the Toledo Blade as energy burning to destroy China. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharishi, in his photo, has a fine white halo of hair, thin man with small beard, short cropped skull fur, his head tilted to one side, mild smile, an intelligent look in the eyes. The Jivan Mukta is not a person. Morning sun over the hills, over the turnpike to Post House, cheap yellow eggs and toast. President Johnson, large-nosed on the picture postcard. President Kennedy, movie smile beside. Evergreen and Oka, Pennsylvania, earth covered with emerald dark fur, hills to climb, a little wilderness, a little solitude, and a long valley you could call a home. Came through here with Peter before and noticed how green the forest. What a place to walk and look through cellular consciousness, near Neelyton or Dry Run, Waterfall or Meadow Gap or Willow Hill. Light in the Greyhound bus, the passengers sleeping. Girl with hairy armpits reading a theater script. Sun rays filtering through clouds like a negative photograph. Kittatinny tunnels through the mountain, Cumberland Valley, Susquehanna River. Ike at Gettysburg found himself a nice spot. In all of these places, millions of trees have worked to make the green, as millions of workmen have labored to raise the buildings of New York hundreds of miles away. Corn here, too, in the fields, and dollars in the fields of New York. Morning glow on the hills, concrete highway, bright fields east of Harrisburg. Philadelphia Inquirer, Perry County, 113 acres of woodland, 11,300. Ideal locations for cabins, quarters, township and roads, springs and roads on track. Best of hunting. Dangerous to want possessions. And for so short a time, should have had it in 45 or 53. In my 20s, I would have enjoyed running around these green woods naked. In my 20s, I would have enjoyed making love naked by these brooks.